So this is the really good bot. But it wouldn't be much of a really good bot if it didn't have, bam, wheels. So let's model some wheels for the rear of this really good bot. The wheels attach to this geared DC motor, so I'll hide these and show the geared DC motor. Beautiful, there it is. So somehow we need to attach wheels to this shaft here and this shaft. You'll notice that it's not a perfect circle, and that's so that we can have a rectangular hole and attach the wheels to it. To make the wheels, I'm going to click on New Component and make a new component called Wheel. There we go. So now I've got an empty component. Just to make it easier to model, I might isolate this, and that will hide everything else. These wheels are designed to have rubber bands that go around them. So let's design it. Instead of drawing a circle, so this is what we're not going to do. We're not going to do this. Draw a circle, ba-da-da, and then extrude. We're not going to do this because we want to have a groove cut in the top here. And I think the easiest way to cut a groove in the top is, instead of drawing a circle, so I'm just going to undo, we are going to go with the line tool, click up here or press L, and from above, we're going to go down. There we go. Beautiful. So now this is the groove, and then we will revolve it. We'll spin it around this line here. Now there are a few things to set up. Number one, this line is not straight, so you can click on it and click the horizontal vertical. Escape. Number two, this doesn't quite go through the center, so I'll move this up a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Really, I would like the center of this line to be at the origin. So for an extreme example, currently, off center, I want this point to be here. So to do that, I will go create, point, and put a point right in the middle. You'll know that it's in the middle and has snapped to the middle and has constrained itself to be in the middle because it has this triangle next to it. Do you notice there's a triangle that appears next to the mouse up there? Click. Now, if I press escape, now I've got a point with a midpoint constraint. So this point always is in the middle of this line here. Now I can click on that point and then click on coincident and then click on the origin. Coincident means the 2 points are on top of each other. Another way of doing that is clicking on the point, dragging it to the origin and checking that it snaps to the origin. You'll know that it's worked because this line goes black to show that it's locked in place. Now we notice a few other problems. This line is vertical. It has a vertical constraint. But this one here is on an angle. So we can click on horizontal and vertical, and then click on this line, and now it's constrained to be vertical. Another is that these two are at different heights, but we want them to be horizontally in line. So as well as the horizontal and vertical applying to lines, it also applies to points, and I will show you how. You can click on this point up here, and then click on this point up here, and now they are horizontally locked together. Press escape to get out of that tool, and then drag things around just to check that the constraints seem to be working. I always do that just to make sure that I've set up the correct constraints. And it looks pretty good, but the problem is, this should really be in the middle, shouldn't it? And there are a few ways to do that. Probably the easiest way is to make sure that these two lines are the same length. To do that, you can make an equal constraint. Click on equal, click on the first line here, click on the second line, and then press escape. Now, notice there's an equal sign to show that these are the same. Yeah. Okay, now, before I do the rest of it, like the width and the diameter, I just want to show you what this will end up being. Let's click Finish Sketch. I'm going to rotate a little bit. You might have heard my lovely dog Oscar there. He really wants to go into the next room. but he's not allowed. So we might have to put up with a bit of barking. Anyway, so the tool that I want to use to make this wheel, because it doesn't look like a wheel now, right, is the revolve tool. Click on revolve. You might notice, if I click cancel, that I clicked on this profile here and then clicked on revolve. That is one way to do it. The other way to do it is you can click on revolve. Oh, it automatically selected the profile anyway. When I say profile, I mean the shape that I want to spin around. I want to spin this shape around this axis, the red axis. In my view, might be different in yours. Or I can click on this line here, either will work. And if I spin it round, if I revolve it round, I have a wheel. So do you see how that works? What you do is you draw the cross section, you draw just one part of it, like a halfway through, and then it spins round and makes a round object. And then you can click OK. So now I have a wheel. But what about the sizes? Like the diameter of the wheel and the width of it? I would like to go back into the sketch and change those things. And of course, you can. Just double click on the sketch and you can go back in time and change the sketch. The things I want to change are that, let's go back here, I want the diameter from here through to here to be 36 millimeters. Because that's what it is in this actual bot. And when I designed it before, that seemed like a good measurement. So if I go in here, I can go to the dimension tool by pressing D, or by going to here. You can see that it's just the letter D. And then click on here. And I wanted the diameter to be 36 millimeters. So the radius is 18. If I press escape and then go finish sketch, I'll show you why. Wheel, sketches. Let's show that sketch from the front view. So from this point to this point is 18 millimeters. So the diameter all the way through is 36. Just to prove that that worked, if I click on inspect and click on any circle part in my 3D model, then it will tell me the diameter is 36 and the radius is 18. Cool. Close. I might hide the sketch now. I don't need it. I wonder how thick it is. I can check that. I can click on inspect. I can click on this face here and then turn around and click on this face here, and it will tell me how far apart these faces are. And they are about a centimeter, 9.5 millimeters. I think that's quite fat for a wheel. So let's close the inspect tool. Double click on the sketch that we had here, which is sketch 1, and change it. So I will make a constraint, a sketch dimension constraint, and I can either click on this length and constrain it to be, let's say just 4 millimeters, I think would be better. The other way to do it is to go create sketch dimension, and you can click on these two, click on the first one and then let go, and then click on the second one and then set it. I'll set it to 4. Escape. Either of those ways will work to set the distance between these two. You might notice all the lines have gone black, and that means that my 3D model, my sketch is fully constrained. I've said everything about it. I've said the height, I've said the distance between these points, everything. If I undo, before I added that constraint, it wasn't completely constrained. But anyway, oopsie. Now that I've set this to be 4, the whole thing goes black, perfectly constrained. And there is my wheel. All right, pretty good. A little bit of a problem though. I might go back to the root component here. This needs a hole in it so that this can go through the hole. And I'm going to make it rectangular so that it will fit this shaft here. So let's go back into the wheel. Let's actually measure how big this hole needs to be. If I click on inspect, the distance from here to here is 3.6 millimeters. So I want my rectangle hole to be 3.6 millimeters high. Okay, close. What about measure? The width of it is, I suppose, the diameter of this thing from there to there, which is 5.4. Experience tells me, because I've done this before, I've printed it, done a 3D model, I've printed it with these dimensions, and it was too loose. So then I made it a bit smaller. You will probably have to print multiple versions of small parts in your model so that you can find the perfect size. And for me, that was too loose. It just slipped around. So I'm going to make my rectangular hole just 5.1 instead of 5.4. So let's close that. Go back to the wheel, activate component, and let's make that hole. To do that, we can create a sketch, and let's just make a sketch on this surface here. Click. To make that rectangular hole, I could use the rectangle tool, but then how do I know that the hole is in the middle? This one's obviously not in the middle. So an easy way to get it aligned perfectly to the middle is to create rectangle, center rectangle. And then you click once in the center. And now I can type in, what was it, 5.1? Let's see, 5.1 wide. And then press tab to get to the other one and type 3.6 and then press enter. So here is my hole that is 5.1 millimeters wide and 3.6 millimeters tall. I can finish sketch, go to the extrude tool, click on that, and then drag it back to cut a hole. And there's my wheel. Let's go back to the main component now. To attach this wheel to this shaft, we will need a joint. So let's go to joint. So do you notice that there's a dot? There's a snap. There are these snapping points here. Yeah, these white points that I can snap to and click on. But the one in the right in the middle, see that middle point? This one right here that needs to line up with the center there. I can't move my mouse over it because when I move my mouse there, it disappears. So what I'll do is if I hover my mouse over this face and then hold Control, well, now they won't disappear. And then I can click on the middle. And I want to snap that to the middle here. Let's zoom in just so I can get the right point. There we go, right there. Perfect. Nice. Sometimes you might have to click flip to get it on the other side, but you can see that I don't. Mine works perfectly like this. Excellent. Okay. So there's a wheel. You might notice that my wheelie bot actually has 2 wheels. So let's make 2 of them. To make 2 of them, I can click on wheel, copy, and then right click on the wheelie good bot and go paste. The difference between paste and paste new is that if you paste, you'll get 2 wheels that are linked together, and changing one of them changes the other. Okay, and now let's just move it out of the way. And I can do the same thing to attach this wheel to this shaft. Joint, hold Control, click there, move over here, and right there. Oh, you can see this one I do need to flip. There we go. Beautiful. And now I have wheels attached to my DC motor. One last step before we continue, I might right click on this root component here and go unisolate all. So you can see everything. Let's show you everything. There we go. Ah, beautiful. And to make it look a little bit more interesting while I'm editing, I can click on inspect and go component color cycling. That's fun. You don't have to do that, but it makes things stand out. All right, I will see you next video where we are going to attach the steering part here to the servo. All right, until next time, bye everyone.